Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Raven Redfeather, and this is the energy reading for the month of June 2026. I pulled the cards and we'll look at them together though. So I've pulled them, but I haven't looked at them yet. So we'll check them out and see what energies are coming in for us this month and what we can expect and what guidance is coming through to assist us in navigating the energies so that we can move through the month more smoothly. So we have here, we come into the month with the Magician energy. And so the Magician energy is letting us know that we have everything we need. We live on a planet that is super abundant, and our needs are met. We are provided for, and we also have all our innate gifts within us that are just waiting for us to access them and use them. And so we come into this month being encouraged to really own that that we do have specific gifts to offer, to share, and we have the tools necessary. We simply have to make the decision as to what we would like to do, what we would like to create, how we would like our life to look. And we need to take the steps in manifesting that. So the Magician comes in to let us know that we do have the ability, the capability within us to manifest what we want. And we're being encouraged, of course, to access our own inner guidance, our divine guidance within. As we see here, the Magician is shown as a child in this particular deck, encouraging us to really start accessing that feeling we had when we were a child and we felt invincible and capable of anything. Everything was possible. And yeah, we didn't feel, before we were programmed otherwise, we felt that we could manifest anything, we could do anything, we could have everything. And of course we also felt, we deserved everything. So not to be, immature, but to really be open to abundance and to trust again. To look at the world, with those innocent eyes, in awe and wonder, its magic and beauty. And that includes being at awe of our own inner beauty, our own gifts, to acknowledge that. Above the Magician, we have Gaia's garden. And so this card here is fruition, abundance, reaping what you sow. And here Gaia is really encouraging us, Gaia being a name for Mother Earth, one of the many names of Mother Earth, again is reminding us that we have everything we need. Yes, okay, prices of things might be more, and we have, most of humanity has bills to pay unless they're living off grid. They have, bills to pay and expenses. And so that can cause people to have stress and worry and concern. But Gaia's garden is reminding us to really remember that our true needs will always be met, that there is plenty here to provide, plenty of abundance. We really do have abundance, we are able to access that abundance. It is encouraging us to be in gratitude, and the more we're in gratitude for just the small things, even doesn't have to be something big, but just being in gratitude for the breath of life, being in gratitude for, some people being gratitude for the rains, others for the sun, being in gratitude for this, beautiful music, whatever it is, being gratitude for our children or our family or our friends. Um, Finding ways to be in gratitude. And as we do that, we'll tend to feel more trusting because we realize, oh, there really is an abundance around us. And as we do that, then we can also become more aware of, okay, what do I have that I can share with others? What do I have within me that I want, that I can share with others? So really, as we access the magician aspect of ourselves, and Gaia's helping us, reminding us that we have everything we need, not only around us being provided, but within us. So helping us to remember who we are and what we came here to do. And again, this doesn't have to be some gigantic mission. We're here to share our authenticity and our love, our kindness with others. And Gaia is assisting us and reminding us to let go of worry, let go of scarcity thinking, because it can be easy to get into scarcity thinking. That sense of lack, and instead focus in on the beautiful abundance that is existing in this moment. There is always beauty around. There is always something to be grateful for. And Gaia's garden is reminding us of that. And also guiding us to trust. Trust that we have everything we need. We're not lacking. So just as we're not seeing, we're letting go of scarcity thinking regarding our circumstances or the outside world, also letting go of scarcity within ourselves, really trusting that we are not lacking. We are powerful. We are, beautiful and have much to offer. And we're being given the key to unlock the cage that perhaps we've put ourselves in. Or we're being given the key to unlock the door of the prison that perhaps metaphorical prison that we've allowed society to put us in. And that's letting go of the roles that didn't fit us, that perhaps we felt we had to live up to. So a lot of times people aren't accessing their inner magician because they are living a role that doesn't really fit them, that they felt, oh, I have to do this in order to, be perceived this way or be accepted this way. I have to, pretend and take on this role, or my family expects me to have this role or this particular job. So, and this is not about being selfish, but it is about honoring our own gifts and who we really are and how we want to utilize our gifts. Sometimes people who take on a role that they felt that they were supposed to have, they can, if it's not a role that they are happy with, if it's not a role of their choosing as such, yes, they have taken it on, so they've chosen it, but it's a role they felt like pushed into, a particular job, career path, for example. If it is not something that is authentic to them, and if they're doing it in order to please others or in fear of making others, upset, then usually, life is going to happen around them to maybe pull the rug out from under them to sort of say, hello, wake up. No, that's not what you're supposed to be doing here. So, this magician is coming in for this month of June to remind us to not wait for any kind of tower moment or difficult, challenging moment to force us into coming to clarity as to what we want to do here and what gets us fired up and makes us feel excited for the day. The magician is coming in to remind us we have the tools, we have everything inside us, but the best way we can give back to the world is to be our authentic self and to trust that our needs will be met as we move forward on our path of self-expression, healthy self-expression, and sharing of our gifts. And the key is here unlocking that. The key is also going to, because this cage is often a cage we might put around our own selves. We've locked ourselves into, this is all there is, this is as far as I can go. Whereas the key is always there, has always been there. And we can, instead of self-sabotage, instead of hindering ourselves on our path through self-sabotage or self-limiting beliefs, we are encouraged to take that key, unlock the cage, that we've perhaps allowed or put around ourselves out of fears or worries or concerns, and to really expand. And we, this let's say there was a bird in there, they can now fly and explore even greater territory, greater land, and beauty, and have a much wider variety of experiences, rather than those limited ones that it could have within the cage. So we are being given that key this month of June, and it is actually timely for us to unlock that cage, to unlock the door of our authentic self and self-expression. And we have here, expressing herself, the Queen of Wands. And so the Queen of Wands, wands represent our fire, will, passion, creativity. And in this deck, she's perhaps had an art exhibit, and she has been perhaps performing, and she has an audience, and she is, taking her bow afterwards, after she's had her show and is being cheered. They're clapping and applauding her in her performance, or in her sharing of her skills or creativity. And we are being encouraged to again share our gifts with the world. I do feel that we have beneath her the mountain. And the mountain comes in when there is obstacles and challenges. So I feel that this card, of course, this reading for the month of June, it has to do with us personally on an individual basis. It also has sort of a different perspective regarding energies globally. So I would say in this month of June, another aspect of these cards and this reading is that perhaps people who have been in the limelight, whether they be politicians and actors or performers, but people in social media realm who maybe have been in the limelight, that there will be information coming out regarding them. There will be perhaps some challenges that they will have to face. I feel like there will be some sort of perhaps news coming out regarding different politicians, different people, public figures, and they could be performers as well, Um, or, different, from around the world, um, different leaders who have perhaps been out on the public stage. There will be uh, perhaps challenges for them as well. And yeah, there'll be some challenges. On the flip side, we have here with the Queen of Wands and the Mountain. So challenges to our um, self expression on a personal level. We're unlocking that door with the key, but again, there might be some challenges that we might face, which will probably be our own challenges on a personal level of self-limiting beliefs. And the eagle is coming in to guide us to elevate our thinking, to elevate our perspective. um, yeah, when I call on eagle medicine, when I'm opening sacred space prior to, for example, this reading, I call on Wonka Eagle to assist us, or to assist myself, to rise above any and all situations where we can see from that higher perspective, where we know we are perfect and worthy just as we are, with nothing we need to do or prove, and to assist us to love and honor ourselves, that we may better love and honor others as well. Also, the eagle medicine helps us to rise above chaotic situations where we can see from that calm perspective, from that calm place. So when the eagle's coming in to assist us, because if there are challenges that are come up this month of June, which I do believe this is indicating there will be some sense of blockages or challenges coming up, or mountains to overcome. The eagle is coming in to say, just rise above, because the only way we're going to be able to see how to navigate that mountain, how to navigate that challenge, is not through those that up close perspective, like a mouse, a little tiny mouse. We're only being able to see through the grass or through the tunnel or whatever. We want to be able to rise above so we can see the big picture. So really calling on eagle medicine to assist us individually, and as a culture too, to rise above the situations, to rise above the challenges that we're being faced, so that we can see the solutions. We can't see them if sometimes if you're looking at something up too close, you just can't see, the forest through the trees, or the trees through the forest, whatever that saying is. We just can't see clearly. We have to rise above. And when we do that, then we will be able to navigate much better through those challenges. And instead of, the obstacles being daunting and being oppressive, we will be able to actually, go through them quite smoothly. And that's the goal. And as we do that, then we're taking on, like her, a creative approach. And it will bring rewards. It will bring rewards for sure. We have as well, for the month of June, the Ten of Cups. And this is a lovely, lovely card. And it represents usually emotional happiness, fulfillment. So traditionally seen as, the happy family. There's beautiful rainbow in the sky. There you've reached a place emotionally where the storm is over and the rainbow is coming out, and you're seeing the hope and the blessings. And we have that card beneath it in the Lenormand, the rider as well as the clouds. And the rider comes in when there is going to be changes. And so I feel that, and the clouds are representing a challenge. And we have the mountain as well. So I do feel there will be some challenges in this month and changes, but we can navigate them. We'll navigate them for sure. And, these aren't severe challenges. These are simply temporary challenges. A time perhaps of some confusion. So it feels like there might be some changes coming that are going to potentially cause some confusion, like, the stormy clouds. You can't quite see really clearly, but Eagle Medicine, we'll call in Eagle Medicine to help us to see, to rise above those clouds. And as we see here, we do have the birds. So the sun is going to come out. We have the rainbow in the 10 of Cups. So the sun will come out, the rainbow will happen, but there will likely be some changes in June that are going to challenge us, perhaps challenging our own perspectives, of the world around us and of our lives. Elephant spirit is coming in here, reminding us to learn from the past. So I feel like part of this sort of stormy, cloudy challenge is that there might be past information about, not only on a personal level, but on a collective and global level. There will be changes and challenges and there'll be challenges because the changes that will happen in June likely will bring up things from the past for us to look at. And it might be a bit confusing, but Elephant is here to remind us that it's important to look and acknowledge the past, to not live in the past, but to learn from it. And as we grow older through our lives, we gather experiences, we gather wisdom, and so and a lot of the wisdom is coming from the challenges that each of us, as we go through life, overcome. And so this elephant is reminding us that there's great value, and it is very important to learn from the past and to take the wisdom from the past, to bring healing to any suffering from the past, whether that's a personal level or on a collective or global level. But it is important to learn from the past, because that way we don't make the same mistakes. Once we've had an experience and we've learned from it, we don't have to repeat it. And so that's great. And it's really important that we learn about our past history, not only our personal past history, but also collectively and globally. We learn about our history, our true history, so that we can see mistakes that were made in the past, and so that we can then avoid making them again in the future. If we don't see it, we can't bring healing to it. So we have to see what has been out of balance, learning from that past and those past mistakes. That, we may say we individually didn't create a particular scenario, but it is important for us to see what hasn't served humanity, what hasn't served us personally, and to learn from that so that we can make clear and healthy choices in our lives. that we can create and manifest, be that magician, creating and manifesting, not from a place of ignorance, but a place of greater wisdom gained from past experience and the observation and of those past histories, and learning from them, so that we can make healthier choices for future generations. And I feel like that's what the 10 of Cups is here for. The decisions that we will make and that we make each day are really going to affect, future generations, not only for our own children and family and friends, but beyond that. So we're at a time where we are really gearing up to, we are the founders of this new earth, new golden age, whatever term you want to call it. And in order to do so, in order to be those founders, we have to gather up the information from that perhaps we didn't know about, that was information that was perhaps blocked, hidden from us, so that we can make clear choices. And so this is also for us individually too, on a personal level, to not be afraid of looking into our shadow, to not be self-judgmental, to realize that this human experience here is all about learning to come back to who we really are, which is loving beings and interconnected, beings. So creative beings, that is humanity's, one of humanity's gifts is our creativity. AI is programmable. AI has a purpose, for example, but AI is not creative. We are creative, and we are, amazing beings. And it's important for us to acknowledge that, but we also have to, in order to bring healing for ourselves and to let go of repetitive toxic patterns, not only in our personal lives, but in a culture, we have to see, where the imbalances were or injustices were, so that we can then rectify that and learn from that and make different choices as we navigate for the future. I think also we had gone through a period collectively, generally speaking, it was sort of programmed into many people, humanity, to think short term, to just think for, the immediate gratification, versus thinking long term, generationally. And we are those founders for this new, which will be a very healthy and balanced, harmonious life. And so we, as founders, we are having to think long term, not just for like my lifetime, and not even just for my children's lifetimes or my granddaughter's lifetimes, but for beyond that. So every choice we're making with that thought for future generations and that consideration, that really, really can it make a big difference in if we have that attitude of thinking more long-term and generationally. How is this going to affect others down the road versus that instant gratification? So as we learn from the past, then we're able to make much better choices, and to teach the younger generations, so that they don't have to make the same mistakes that perhaps we did, or perhaps past generations had made. And we have here the Ten of Wands. So in this reading for the month of June, we have two tens. So two tens, 10 is a number of completion and new beginning. So it will reduce to a 1, which would be the Magician, or a new beginning, which would be an ace in the tarot as well. So it is the completion of something, and so that something new can begin. And so we have in the month of June, I feel there will be some endings to situations. There will be endings, completions to certain situations, so that we can begin afresh, going into in July and further into the summer. But we see here with the Ten of Wands, this is where, here a very different take on the Ten of Wands from a traditional tarot. And I really am drawn to the fact that this particular deck is showing the Ten of Wands, a person with 2 children on their back. I feel this is important, and I always feel that whatever decks I choose are intentional, divinely guided, for the messages that specific symbolism in that particular deck is going to have. And I do feel that there is a message about the children here, not only, as I was saying, about future generations. And it may be, let's say this is a parent, taking their 2 kids on their back, and it's kind of a burden. They're heavy, and that maybe the parent's been working all day, and they're tired from work, but they love their children, so they're going to give them attention. And even though they're really tired, they're like, wow, but I love my children, and they want attention. They deserve attention, so I'm going to carry them on my back and play with them and do whatever, to give them that love and nurturing and support, in their lives. So this is about burdens. What burdens are we taking on? This is a card where sometimes it's encouraging us to, you gotta maybe let go of some burdens because it's a little too much, and you don't want to, so to speak, burn out energetically. But I'm not taking that in this particular deck. I don't feel that's the message. I think this is a message to be responsible. We are, as a humanity, responsible for the children. We have to look after the children. We have to look out for our children. And sadly, we know that there have been many, in the past, I'll say in the past, children that had gone missing, children that had been abused, etc. And children that have suffered in war-torn areas, etc. And so we're really being encouraged to, that part of our mission here, part of our goal here, part of humanity's development is the importance of us recognizing how vital and important the children of the world are, and how important it is for each of us to do whatever we can to create a better world for those children. And we have above this card an oracle card of protection. The goddess has your back. And so you can see here, a mother, and she's nursing, she's feeding her baby, and there's a bear behind her. And this is supposed to be Ursa Major, the star constellation, but basically the mother bear. And I feel like what we're being guided to focus in on, perhaps, and what will be a focus for the month of June, is the importance of us protecting the children of the world. Protecting, perhaps what they are exposed to, what kind of information they're exposed to, what kind of environment they are in. perhaps protecting them from certain foods that are out there, and limiting, making sure they're healthy foods, healthy beverages for the children, healthy environments for the children. I do feel there will be certainly a focus and an energy of importance that coming to the forefront this month of June. Most likely, time is flexible, in the energetic realm, but it certainly will start to become uh, more awareness will be given to the need to uh, protect the children and to focus in on future generations, to focus in on, that nurturing. Like one of my power animals is the grizzly bear, and the grizzly bear comes out, in reference to, protecting the children, protecting my children, protecting, um, others. Then that grizzly bear will come out. Other than that, I'm, just mild mannered. But that she bear, that mother bear, she's going to come out and she's going to protect the children. And here we have someone, playing with the children, protecting them. They are protected. This person isn't going to let any harm come to those children. And as this person, was like, oh, these kids are heavy, but they're having fun. The kids are having fun. The kids are playing, and we need to restore that sense of innocence back. And I feel like that also comes here with the magician. And in most tarot decks, the magician is an adult. But here in this particular Gregory Scott's, this is his tarot deck. He unfortunately passed away a year ago, but a great reader, really great person. In his deck here, he is showing that the magician as that child, that that innocence, that's starting off a journey, has everything they need. God, source, gives us everything we need. It's within us. And then we start our journey here. And we will have challenges, but we will face those challenges and we will thrive afterwards. We're become even more strong and wise and full of wisdom that we can share. But we need that innocence, and we need our children to feel safe, and not only to feel safe, but to be safe, and to have safe environments in which they can really pursue their innate gifts, because they're free, and so that they can also spend more time playing. I do feel that our, at least in the States, here in America, in the Western cultures, often, well, I'll just say, okay, in what I've observed, culturally, children's lives have become so structured. They have school, then they have sports, then they might have, dance class, or they might have karate class, or they might have, and I'm not saying that any of those things are bad. They actually can be very good. However, everything seems to be structured for children these days. And so it's not leaving time for their imagination. It's not leaving time for them to explore. And we also do need a safe environment for them to explore in. So I feel like we are going to be really becoming aware of how do we want to nurture our children, the children of the world. What kind of environment do we want for the children of the world? What do we want to create for them? What kinds of foods are we going to feed them and encourage them to consume and eat? And what kind of information are we going to encourage them to consume, and take in? So really protecting the children. And that doesn't mean like micromanaging their every move, but really protecting them by the decisions we make as a culture, because we are thinking, of improving. How can we improve the lives of future generations? So, with our decisions this month, as we come more into our power and acknowledge our gifts, let go the old roles that we had taken on, and we that don't serve us, and step into being our authentic self, because as we do that, we share with the world, and that's what creates a more harmonious environment for the children and for the world, yeah, as we are founders here for this new earth, new reality. We have beneath the 10 of Wands, the book. So I feel like this month of June, there will be information, more information coming to us. I would say there'd be more information regarding, because it was beneath the 10 of Wands and the protection here. I feel like there will be a lot of information coming up in June regarding children, and regarding children's safety, and regarding perhaps past things that have happened regarding children, and how best we can create environments that are healthy for them. Next, we have the Knight of Swords. And this, again, is a different, unique perspective on the Knight of Swords, but actually pretty accurate, because the Knight of Swords can be traditionally shown a knight, a person, a man, a young man on a horse, really catapulting fast, galloping fast with their sword in their hand. And the swords in the tarot represent our mental thinking, our thoughts, our beliefs. And when the Knight of Swords comes in, there is swift movement, there is swift action. And sometimes this can be good, and sometimes it can be, the swords, they can cut through things, they can cut through cords of attachment that don't serve you, for example, sort of an Archangel Michael energy of, cutting cords of attachment to people, places, and things that do not serve the highest good, a protector energy. But the negative aspect, which is being shown here of the Knight of Swords, is where we are projecting, where we are allowing, clouded perspectives to, and we're acting on those clouded perspectives that are not accurate, of course, and we are projecting and acting swiftly without thinking, and so being caustic and being critical. So I feel like we're being encouraged to not react, to not be reactive. We want to act, which is observing, and then consciously taking the information in, and then taking conscious actions, taking right action, versus seeing something and reacting. And we don't want to do that. That's usually not a good result, to just be reactive, unless it's, perhaps an emergency situation, you have to react, have quick reflexes. That's different. But in this is about, this person is projecting totally on this other person, blaming. So that is one caveat with this particular card and its energy coming in, encouraging us not to be reactive to perhaps what we see around us happening, but to observe, take a moment, and then to act, take action, take right and timely action. But another thing I feel from this, because when I see this card, one of the first things I thought of is I was drawn to the sword. Of course, it is the Knight of Swords, but for whatever reason, I heard falling on the sword, falling on your sword. I don't feel like this is so much for most of us us individually watching this YouTube as such, but I feel like like globally, um, in the media, whether it's CEOs of companies, or banks, or you know political leaders around the world, um, or those out in the public media, I feel that there might be, this month of June, we could expect people to fall on the sword. And by that, it could mean that they get called out for bad behavior, for doing some things that aren't so good, and that they maybe uh, resign or brought to justice, or they find another way to exit, to sort of leave, because they are called out for um, inappropriate and um, unethical uh, behaviors and things. So we might see people resigning this month. We might see people, for whatever reason, leaving, uh, rather than being brought to justice, you might say. So they find another way to leave the situation. So I feel like there will be yeah, potentially some shakeups going on globally. You know, leaders stepping down from their positions, or and that can be leaders of anything, leaders of companies, leaders of towns or countries, or people in the media, movies and TV and news stations, but that there's likely to be some shakeups in the realm out there of people that perhaps we've seen that will step down in one way or another from their positions. Because we have under it the moon. And the moon in the Lenormand card can mean fame and notoriety. And so with this card above it, I really feel like it's, again, that's why I said it's in the month of June at some point. It might be the beginnings of where we see those that have had fame and notoriety are being called out, for things that they have done that weren't so good. So I think a lot of the moon casts shadows, right? When we have a full moon, it is illuminating the ground below, but casting shadows. And so things that have been in the shadows, I feel, will come out because we have the book here. So different information is going to be coming out, and then I think people will be called out, and then the people that are perhaps going to be called, or the institutions, that could be institutions that are being called out, they will probably resign. I think there will be resignations, or justice will happen. Yeah, this month of June coming up. And we have above that the shaman, and it says trust in the higher force. So we had eagle, which was rise above, see from that higher perspective, and trust, and Gaia's garden, saying that it's important for us to trust, and to know that all our needs are met. And so certainly the shaman energy is encouraging us to trust in a big picture, to trust in higher divine intervention, trust in divine guidance. But it also is a reminder because in shamanic traditions, and there's all different kinds of shamanic traditions around the world and going back, thousands and thousands of years ago, and then still practiced today. So I'm a shamanic practitioner. Um, they're all unique, but they all do have similarities. And one of the things that the shamanic practices have is that they realize the importance of, again, to heal anything, we have to recognize the core. We have to recognize the illness. We have to be able to see the illness in order to bring healing to it. So the shaman here is encouraging us that we need to be able to, on a personal level, look at our shadow, and and the shadow, again, and I've mentioned this in previous videos as well. Again, it's just our wounds, our wounds from growing up, and our traumas, or the traumas that we felt that created self-limiting beliefs, um, our false limiting beliefs, the toxic thinking, those things that have kept us, those beliefs that have kept us in a cage. The shamanic energy here with the shaman, it is encouraging us to nurture our inner self, to nurture the wounded child within us, and to not be like, oh, did I do that again? I thought I was over that, or why does this still keep happening to me? That's the wounded child trying to get our attention. And so that we can, if we love that wounded child, if we love those wounded aspects of ourselves, rather than being afraid of them, as we love who we are with all our, scrapes and cuts and bruises, from past traumas and things that have been projected on us from others, guilt and shame, or whether that's from parents, or whether that's from, who were doing the best that they could with their, where they were at, or whether that's from a culture. It's going to be important for us to acknowledge those aspects and love on them, bring healing to them. When we can bring them up and look at them, then we can heal them. And that doesn't mean reliving past traumas, but it means acknowledging what has existed and realize that's not in our present reality. We are safe, and so we don't have to keep reliving or recreating past traumas. So to let go, the shaman comes here to help us to die to those things that do not serve us. By that, it means letting go of those things that no longer serve us. And that way we can expand into more of our authentic self. And that's where we can then create a positive new foundation for ourselves and for our community, our family, our friends, and the world. As each one of us does that, as each one of us brings healing to ourselves, even a little bit of healing to ourselves, we're going to be so much happier. And as each one of us can let go of strife and struggle and trust in the beautiful abundance, through gratitude practice, we will become more of a magnet for those that are kind and loving, and situations that are more life affirming. So if we need to reach out to others for assistance on our path, go for that and do that. But really, we need to acknowledge, even culturally and globally, we need to acknowledge where the wounds were in our culture, in our society, in the world, where the illness was, where the toxicity was. Once it's acknowledged and seen, so once we see that which has not served humanity, that has been going on in the shadows. Once we see that, we can bring healing to it. We can say, no, we're not doing that. We're not creating that anymore. We're not allowing that to happen. We are going to choose a healthier, more harmonious world. We're going to protect the children. We're going to create healthy environments, healthy communities, happy. And when I say healthy, I mean healthy and happy, harmonious communities that are thriving around the world. But we need to see the illness. We need to see where the dysfunction was so that we can learn from it and make those clear and healthy choices and move forward. So just looking to see if there's anything else wants to be said here. Yeah, I think, to sort of recap this month of June, I definitely see some changes coming in. I think things that have been in the shadows, hidden, will come to the surface, to our awareness. And through that, we will, as long as we are not reactive, but instead stay in observance, taking a moment, some breaths, and then acting in right timing. In doing so, we will really learning from the past, holding, ourselves accountable as we move forward, so we're not victims and in victimhood, but we hold ourselves accountable. And that doesn't mean, and that's by, when I'm talking about ourselves, we're loving on ourselves. We're recognizing that it doesn't serve us to blame others. This is why I'm the way I am, because they did this to me and they said that. No, acknowledge what happened, but now I can be accountable and say, just because they projected their stuff on me and they did this to me, and people sometimes have had great abuses, but they don't have to continue with that. They can say, no, I let that go, and that's not who I am, and I'm going to create a loving, healthy environment for myself, because they're going to choose to love themselves and honor themselves first. And I think we need to each do that, to love and honor ourselves first, but to recognize our wounds. And everybody has some, but to recognize them, that we can bring healing, learn from the past, and then move forward to create what we do want in this life. Because we are assisted. We simply have to make that choice and that decision and take the next step. Don't have to leap miles, just take the next step along the journey, because it is a journey, and it is meant to be more joyful. And I feel like that's what we want to create for the children of this world. Less struggle and strife, and instead thriving. We're the children of this world, and moving forward, as well as ourselves, that we're thriving in life. And we do that through honoring ourselves, through community, through realizing that we share our gifts and other people share their gifts, and then we have great abundance everywhere. And we're going to move through. This will be a transition month for sure, I feel, with the 2 10s here of completion in the cards. There may be some obstacles that seem like major obstacles, but really we're going to take that ego medicine and rise above and see the big picture. And from that place of honoring and respecting ourselves and forgiving ourselves, and that's going to be important too. The whole elephant spirit, learning from the past. Sometimes we're resistant to looking back. right? Either on our own life or as a culture, um, because of guilt or, oh, how did I not see that and feeling bad? Or how did I let that happen? But no, that's, you know, we're all doing the best that we can. And we're all doing a great job. Things have been really challenging in this life for most people. And also, of course, beautiful and joyful. Life has many flavors. But I think humanity as a whole has had a lot of challenges. Um, and there have been a lot of mistakes that humanity has made. But I would say this month, as long as we're willing to look at the past and the new awarenesses that are coming up, for us, this new information coming up for us to see, as long as we're willing to learn, then and forgive ourselves. Um, yeah, love ourselves and forgive ourselves, then we will move forward. We will move forward to create that reality that is one in which we can all thrive. We are meant to be here and to be thriving, to be enjoying life, to be sharing our love with each other. And that includes sharing our love with the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the soils, all of Mother Earth's creations. We're here to live harmoniously. And we can't do that if we are beating ourselves up on a personal level. If we don't have the harmony within, how are we going to create the harmony out there? So we're being guided to not be so hard on ourselves, but to be responsible and to love ourselves, to let go of what doesn't serve us from the past, to bring healing to that. And, if we need assistance, then seeking out that assistance to deal with, past situations. But by honoring ourselves, by looking at the past and realizing that isn't who I am, that may be what happened in the past, but that's not who I am, then we're able to really take those steps to manifesting that life where we're thriving. And as we do that individually, that assists us in doing that as a culture and globally as a one humanity. So we can create that beautiful, harmonious world. So I hope this has been helpful for you. This reading, if you did find it helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you feel might be interested and that it might help. Yeah, and I'm wishing you a fantastic month of June. Beautiful summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I will see you next month. All the best. Much love.